So I made, and I'm very proud of this amount, $93,393.44 hard-earned cents in my first year of full-time content creation before taxes. Let me make me small so y'all see that before taxes. The tax man, because it's Uncle Sam, so we'll gender them, is cruel. It's mean. Says, I don't give a damn whether or not you have health care. I'm going to take a large chunk of this. However, the before tax amount, I was pleasantly surprised with myself. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, listen, I have a lot of money in savings. If I can't cover it, I'm going to dip into my savings. And if I dip into it too much, I will take my behind humbly, eat my humble pie, and take my behind back to corporate. And I didn't have to go back. So honestly, I'm really excited about that. The breakdown of this, which I transparently cannot give the full breakdown, and you'll see why in a second. A large chunk of this was due to a few platform programs, which I participated in. And on Patreon, we talked about a little bit how a little bit of serendipity and luck, and honestly, other Black women in corporate championing me got me into some places. And I'm immensely grateful. I cannot say how grateful I am for those opportunities, to be honest. Without that, it would be looking a little different over here, a lot different. So as you can see here, I have it broken down. So I want to keep it as transparent as possible. When I worked in corporate, the most I made as a corporate lawyer, I keep switching back and forth, sorry, was $165,000 base salary as a corporate lawyer working in tech. And then I did a little dibble dabble into diversity and inclusion program manager, also in tech. I stayed in tech all these years, a brief stint in entertainment ain't got no HR. And it was too lawless for me. So I went back into tech. When I was a diversity and inclusion manager, which that job ended in fireworks, I made $135,000 base salary, $20,000 bonus, plus about, I think my RSUs were $104,000 over 4 years. Your girl didn't make 4 years, as y'all know with that story and what happened there. The biggest thing with content creation, as you can see, is the money is not every 2 weeks. So the first 6 months of content creation, I made $65,458.56. A lot of money. In 6 months, I was like, oh, I'm on track to make my corporate salary. This is great. In the second 6 months, I made $26,000. Is that 26? Okay, yeah, $26,929.92. A decent amount of money, but significantly less. The reason why it was easy for me to manage is because I planned it out as if I was only ever going to make $30,000 the whole year. I was like, listen, I'm not going to be over here living high on the hog. I was like, yeah, I'm going to pay this. I'm going to do what I can. I tell my family, and also life has to live. You have to live your life. This breaks down. Let me go into this exactly. What it breaks down into is the first 6 months of the year, $8,613.44 from Patreon. So thank you again to Patreon. $11,845.12 for Google AdSense. Shout out to Google and my 55%. Appreciate y'all. I don't know why you need 45% of my money, but that's okay. I'm not complaining. And then for sponsorships and platform programs. So for the platform programs, you're not allowed to say how much you made for the platform program. So I lumped them in with my sponsorship money as well to keep in compliance with my contract that I signed. So $45,000 the first 6 months, and then you have the second 6 months of the year, you have $12,694.12 for Patreon. And then you see a huge dip in AdSense. A lot of creators have been very transparent that unfortunately with the rise of shorts, a lot of creators in the beginning of this year saw a dip in their AdSense, me included. As YouTube is monetizing shorts unfortunately the research is out, so YouTube has also said this as well. In a few articles I've read, I've noticed this from the beginning. When you transfer people into a TikTok style form of viewership, the attention span shrinks. So if I'm doing an hour live stream and you watching a 1 minute short, you're not really going to watch the hour live stream. You know what I'm saying? So the money went from $11,000 the first 6 months to $7,000, which I could have used those $4,000, but that's all right. And then sponsorships and platform programs down to $7,000. Overall, a great 12 months, an excellent year. This is 3 times as much as I made in my first year being a full-time lawyer. When I worked in entertainment with Chelsea, and your girl made $30,000 a year. So I'm happy. I'm very happy. the fluctuation is wild. And I think largely that is something I knew from a mind standpoint, like, hey, it's likely this is going to go up and down. When it happens to you, it's a little different. I'm not going to lie. When my AdSense started dropping at the beginning of this year, I felt away. I was like, what happened? Like, the research is still there. Like, I'm still here. And then you kind of get into the mindset of like, oh, did I do something wrong? Maybe my video is not as good. And then you second guess yourself, and then you make less videos, and then you're in confusion, which is hard. There's no amount of explaining around that to get yourself to be like, nope, I'm fine. I'm still doing the thing. Like, let's continue on. It is what it is. It is what it is at this point. So overall, I would say I did really well. And I want to point out one thing, which is in terms of situating myself with everyone else. Unfortunately, most of your faves, our faves, are struggling. And that is because YouTube is a corporation. Not everybody is raking in all the money. I've been very lucky. I'm very much an outlier, and I'm going to show you a graph. And I think showing the graph is important because it situates, as somebody who consumes content, I consume a lot of YouTube content these days, as somebody who's very much like, okay, I want to make sure the people who I'm consuming their content for free or I'm paying on their Patreon are, around, can pay their bills, can do these things. This graph was really sombering. So this is from Deloitte, which I'm going to show the graph in 1 second, which is most creators are still trying to grow their business, but they are ambitious about their growth potential. Leave it to a banking corporation to be like, hey, they're going to grow. It's going to get better. With the main thing being, which I don't know why it is in lime green, it's because it's dismal. 58% make less than $50,000 a year of content creators. So this is the graph, and I'm going to make me small so y'all can see it. 58% of content creators make less than $50,000 a year, and this is not accounting for race. So if we were to account for race and gender, as well as region, these numbers would be starkly different for Black people and Hispanic people. Truthfully. And it doesn't account for that because it doesn't want you to know that, because that would be very dismal. So 50,000 to 99,000, that's the group I'm in this year, is 25%. 100,000 to 149,000, which is my old corporate salary, that's only 8% of content creators. 3%, 150 to 199, so my old lawyer salary, 3%. So you see where there's this huge break off of what people think content creators are making on YouTube. You see the views and you're like, oh, they must be making a lot of money. Not everyone gets paid out the same for views. Not everyone is receiving the amount of views they should receive, to be honest. There are some videos where I'm like, wow, I worked really hard on that. I know it's like great information, and the views are just like, they're just not there. It's just what it is. It's just not there. Or sometimes I'm like, I don't like that video. Like, why did this do well? Like, my pink sauce video always comes to mind because to me, I'm like, this is a silly topic. This topic is silly, but sure. Even on that video, which is interesting, the RPM, which is the rate per milli, what I was paid out for that, is significantly lower. Because I am a recovering lawyer and because most of my topics are legal topics, my RPM, what YouTube pays me after they pay themselves, they got to pay themselves first, is pretty high. Is anywhere between $10 to $15. Sometimes we might hit a little 18, and then I'm like, what is happening? Like, y'all are being real generous. And I think that is important to note sometimes when we look at like, oh, why isn't someone posting, or why does someone seem down? It can be a little demoralizing when you're trying your best and you're like, yo, I'm not even making the minimum wage. And that's frustrating. And again, this chart is from Deloitte. So shout out to Deloitte for at least highlighting that this is an issue, because a lot of the times it's similar to entertainment. And we've talked about entertainers often and how entertainers, particularly now you see with the actor strike and the writer strike, that entertainers are not being paid their wage. They're not being paid anything, particularly the actors. When you see the residual checks, Amanda Seales posted, which don't quote me on the exact amount, one of her residual checks from Insecure. Insecure is a groundbreaking HBO show. HBO's premiere, or was before it turned into Max. Premiere television, expensive. They paid a good coin, I'm sure, for her to be on that show. Some of the residual checks are less than $10. If I remember correctly, she had a residual check for less than $5. This is a show that won awards, that will be recognized for many, many years. Also my favorite show. It's kind of alarming. It's alarming what people make to put out things that actually, like, can be helpful or can at least be entertaining, and do that. And that's one of the things that when I first started content creation, I didn't look. I think this specific study came out after I had started, but I looked at one they did the year prior. So I set my mind in, like, you know what? If I make less than 50K, that's all right, because I got a lot of savings. I got a lot of savings that can be very frugal, and it'll be fine. So making the amount that I did, the $93,000, I'm extremely grateful and surprised. Am I going to make that in the next 12 months? I'm going to cross my fingers. I'm going to cross my fingers, because student loan interest, I know I hate to bring this up because I know people are avoiding it. Stop avoiding it. Student loan interest restarted September 1st. It's September 13th. And your first student loan payment is due October 1st. My student loan interest now accrues at $840 a month, every month. To hit the principal, I have to pay $840 plus more. So because that fire is relit under my ass, I'm gonna need to make some more money, because I would love to pay them off and be done. All right. So on to corporate. Now that we've talked about content creation and how much I made, if I end up taking this down from and putting it on Patreon, I'll clip that part, because I want that part to stay visible, so that way people see, like, hey, this is an honest undertaking. I did do the math multiple times. I know math is not my ministry, but money is. So the math is right. Because I think it's worth it, especially for a lot of Gen Z young people that have their eyes set on content creation, to have an honest understanding of some of the things that go into it, and that the money is not always, the money sometimes is funny. And even though that amount is great to me, that amount is, again, according to the chart, 1 out of 4. It's not the norm. So I think that is helpful. All right.